Hello. I am making this video to help me sort out the Dreamcatcher storyline with the new development of the Deja Vu music video. This is what I think is happening in the Dreamcatcher story so far. Overall, they seem to be a group of girls cursed to live through these different frightening dreamlike realities without a lot of actual reality to them. Most of the story has been in a nightmare, but they have recently moved into the theme of lucid dreams. Certain themes such as duality, mirrors, and spiders versus butterflies are present in every single video. The duality and mirrors implies the multiple universes or realities. Or maybe even a split within the self. The spider versus butterfly shows an evil conflicting with good. Destruction versus rebirth. Being trapped versus being free, among other things. These themes are prominent in every Dreamcatcher video. Now let's move on to the possible storyline. The story starts with Fly High, even though this is the third comeback. It being the first part is indicated by the fact that the album is called Prequel. Either way, it seems like their problems all start here. The girls all go to some boarding or finishing school together and enjoy their days playing and learning manners or something. One day Ju finds this giant spider in the yard and, like a normal person, captures it in a jar to torment. Yuyin in particular is very mean to it, heating it up with a magnifying glass. Note that as Yuyin becomes tied more with this spider, Ju seems attached to some butterflies. The girls now find themselves cursed and scary stuff starts to happen at the school. We also see this spell book for the first time. Eventually, Ju finds another version of herself. In horror, she attempts to escape the school, but in the end she closes herself back inside. I believe this is the beginning of the girls being trapped in another plane of reality. The last line of the song is literally "I'm trapped in a nightmare." The next part of the story is Chase Me. The girls haunt a hotel as a man searches for evidence of them, much like a ghost hunter. Although they were playing the role of ghosts here, it is likely they are just girls stuck in another plane of reality. They can only vaguely interact with the real world. The theme of duality and mirrors appear again. Throughout the video, the girls all mess with the man, eventually leading him to a room that appears to reveal who they once were and confirming who he assumed they were. Now in Good Night, we see the girls running through a forest, trying to escape something. This may be the forest surrounding their school. The man has a book he's been studying that seems to document their lives. While he's left it unattended on his desk, Dami is able to reach through the mirror as a means of connection between their worlds. She steals the book and the girls destroy it. In doing so, they break their bindings to the reality they're in and trap the man inside the mirror world. The album is called Fall Asleep in the Mirror. The girls now believe they are free. In You and I, the girls seem to have started a new life in their own house. They run a photography business. One day a woman comes in to be photographed by Yuyin. She quickly reveals herself to be a giant spider, likely the evil spirit of the spider they captured. It sends Yuyin to this other world filled with snow and cobwebs and sends a dark spirit to run rampant in the house. The darkness seems to reappear in Deja Vu, but that's for later. The theme of being stuck in a spider's web is common. The girls fight to avoid the spirit while trying to free Yuyin from the web world, especially Ju. In the end, they are unable to free Yuyin and she becomes trapped there. The next comeback is What? This was originally thought to be a new story as You and I's album was titled End of the Era. If anything, it seems to be a transitional period. The girls wake from their nightmares in a sort of limbo. Yuyin wakes in her bed, confused as to what happened. At some point, her world turns upside down and she reemerges in darker clothing and a darker looking room. She realizes she hasn't truly woken in a real world and her reality is still warped. This new dark self may also refer to a possession of her by the spider. In one particular scene she looks to Ju as if they recognize each other but can't quite place it. This could be foreshadowing to Deja Vu. What and Deja Vu have many similarities, all the way down to the way the girls are styled. It is possible they are the most directly connected. The book used by the man in Good Night also makes an appearance with a blue rose, similar to the roses in Deja Vu. Piri seems to take place in another type of limbo. Duality is extremely prominent here. If what was them leaving the last dream, this would be them getting sent into the next one. The album itself is called End of the Nightmare. However, this video still plays out like a nightmare and has some of the scariest moments, such as the dolls or a mysterious hand on Ga-hyeon's mouth. The girls continue to find duplicates of themselves, perhaps further evidence that they are moving from one universe to another where they will now play different roles. Ju finds her own double again. It could be noted that she has the same hair that she had in Fly High. In the end, the girls all find each other and stand united, unsure of what will happen next. Breaking out seems to be an extension of Piri. The girls continue to search for each other while escaping nightmarish situations. Deja Vu is a music video with a clear story in an unclear order. I think it is safe to assume that Yoo-yeon is a malicious character in this new tale. It is possible that she is possessed by the spider. She even has the same hair as she did in You and I, where she got trapped in the spider's world, and in What, where she woke before getting turned into a darker version of herself. Not to mention that a song on this album is called The Curse of the Spider. In this video, a few things are for sure. Ju dies and has a funeral. Yoo-yeon takes the throne in the end. Ju and Yoo-yeon were once friends, and Ju has had Yoo-yeon's life in her hands twice. In one case, Ju let Yoo-yeon go and is backstabbed. It should also be noted that Ju turns into butterflies after her death. If Yoo-yeon is possessed by the spider, this is another spider versus butterfly moment. It also shows that this is not the end for Ju. What is unclear to me is the scene where Yoo-yeon is dressed as a princess or queen and where that fits into this story. I have two main theories. 1. It could be that Yoo-yeon began as the princess and Ju as an assassin. Ju finds she cannot kill Yoo-yeon and the two go to the same side, all working together. However, Yoo-yeon is possessed by the evil spirit of the spider and tries to kill Ju at some dinner party with the girls. A funeral is held for Ju and the girls all mourn, except Yoo-yeon, but Ju is found to be alive. In the time of no rulers, the castle has become ruined, but now Ju has returned. Yoo-yeon is caught, but instead of killing her for her crimes, Ju lets her live. However, Yoo-yeon then kills Ju for good and takes the throne. Alternatively, they were all friends to begin with, and one day Yoo-yeon betrays Ju and kills her. The sword scenes are a bit more metaphorical, and Yoo-yeon running to stab Ju just represents the same betrayal of killing her at dinner. The girls hold a funeral, but then Yoo-yeon banishes them all, hence the door closing behind Sua and them all falling with Ju. At the end of the video, Yoo-yeon takes the throne both in real life and in the sword metaphor thing. However, no one truly dies and Ju's spirit wakes to haunt Yoo-yeon. This would be the opening sword scene. Yoo-yeon is now the queen, but she rules in a cold and lonely castle. Ju haunts her as a vision of what Yoo-yeon used to be. The tables have turned. Yoo-yeon is troubled, but this is the path she has chosen. There is also a third possibility that is almost the same as the second, where Ju once spared Yoo-yeon's life after a battle where Yoo-yeon tried to take her throne. They join forces, but Yoo-yeon was just waiting for a chance to kill her. Everything else plays out the same. Yoo-yeon being on the throne implies it happens later, after Ju is gone. However, when Ju is dressed as the queen, the castle is in ruins, and the final scene with Yoo-yeon on the throne also takes place at this time. Both seem to imply occurring later in time. My theories are just different ways it could fit into the story. Either before they all become close and it is the backstory of the two girls, or after and it is Yoo-yeon being haunted by her crimes. Whatever happens next will hopefully clear up the order of these events. As it stands, Yoo-yeon is on the throne, ready to rule this messy fantasy world. This is the beginning of our lucid dream arc. I wonder what will happen next.